Hello and welcome. It's Japan, and I figured we'd make a video now that we're down to the quarterfinals or semifinals. Yeah, semifinals of the King and Queen of the Ring, and we'll make some picks and I guess review the matchups that will be possible. I had this image in the background because this just happens to be the men's finale that was also the War Games team, which is kind of interesting, minus Seth Rollins, obviously, but. What is that? Seth Rollins' year? Yeah, that was his crash out because CM Punk came back and okay, yeah, I was correct. I was like thinking about it. I was like, did I miss? No, that's the truth. That is the truth. Yeah. So we have this men's finals. It will be Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton. Kind of some interesting matchups. Honestly, this is one of those like things where all four men really shouldn't lose. Sammy was kind of a surprise to be put in there just because like they could have easily taken him out in the first round and they wouldn't have had to worry about how he's going to lose here or win. I don't think they're going to have Randy Orton win here. I mean, I feel like it's kind of a Sami Zayn winning here, but like also he pissed off Karrion Kross, so like that could be the out that they have. Um, and have Randy go back to back as like finals for the King of the Ring. And then obviously on the Cody and Jay side of things, makes it kind of complicated because I don't know how somebody wins or loses clean here. But I guess the best way of doing this is going to be, I believe it's going to be uh, Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. That's my pick. But reviewing the potential matches, that would be, I guess, the number one matchup that I see happening and I feel like is the best matchup. Next up would probably be Sami Zayn versus Jey Uso because I think them going against each other and Sami probably having to pull out something extra to take out Jey so he can actually secure the heavyweight championship would be kind of an interesting thing. So those would be my top two matchups. Jey versus Randy Orton, I feel like is pretty probably the worst matchup. Honestly, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, I guess they had like some squabbles back in the Bloodline days, but really, is that what we want as our finale? I don't think so. And then I guess second to last would be Sammy versus Cody. It could be very interesting because Cody could lose it there because of um, maybe Karrion Kross. I feel like Karrion Kross is kind of a key right here. I think he plays a big role in Sammy either advancing or getting taken out. Also, by that happening, I feel like that could help the whole tournament kind of figure it out without having somebody take a completely clean loss. I mean, somebody's going to have to in one of these brackets, but yeah. But then the potential matchup would be Jay or Sammy against Gunther. We've seen that so many times. I'm so tired of that. On the opposite side, we'd have Randy Orton versus John Cena. Can't really see that happening because it's just like we've already seen it at Backlash and it was special because it was at Backlash. SummerSlam would kind of taint that whole match and stuff. So Cody Rhodes versus John Cena just makes the most sense here. So I don't think it's that bad. Next up, we'll go over the women's bracket, even though we have the men's up here. But it's Asuka versus Alexa Bliss, which we'll actually see tomorrow, or technically when this video is probably up on the air, it's probably tonight. And then Jade Cargill versus Roxanne Perez. Now, I think the injury to Liv Morgan is going to change this whole entire thing. I really do. I think Liv Morgan was going to feud with Io Sky going into SummerSlam, which would have then allowed the SmackDown side of things, either being Jade or Alexa Bliss, to secure the victory to go against Tiffany Stratton there. I really think that was what it was going to go. And I feel like it would have been Jade Cargill because Jade Cargill would have had a great golden opportunity to go after Tiffany Stratton and her, title, which would have allowed Naomi to be kind of a bad guy out there looking at the thing. So even like Jade could have dethroned Tiffany for 2 seconds and then get cashed in by Naomi, which would have blew up their feud even further. So that I feel like that might have been the plan, but I think that's going to be kind of scrapped with Alex or with Liv Morgan out. There could still possibility that it will happen, but I don't know. Here, I feel like Asuka versus Alexa Bliss. I think Asuka wins. I think she's red hot coming back, and I think Asuka versus Io Sky is a really good matchup. And then Jade versus Roxanne Perez. I do think it's going to be Jade Cargill. I think. possibility that they could have Perez win here. I don't think it matters to a certain extent because I see it if okay, so if it's Ashka versus Jade Cargill, that kind of is a weird matchup. I don't think I necessarily feel like that would be the greatest call there. Um, Ashka versus Roxanne Perez, I think would be very fun, and I would like to see that. Bliss versus Roxanne Perez, I think would be also really fun. And then Bliss versus Jade Cargill, I could see being pretty decent. So I guess my number one thing would be I would want to see Ashka versus Perez, but I do think it's going to be Jade Cargill that wins that match. And then I guess next up would be Ashka versus Jade Cargill. And then I would have for Bliss, which I'm not necessarily opposed to seeing her get into the finals, but going against Ashka, I feel like is just kind of not like I feel like Asuka's the better person to move forward because of her potential feud with Io Sky. So you would have Perez, what it would be, Bliss versus Perez would probably be the next best, and then Bliss versus Jade, I think, is the worst matchup that they could possibly put together. But honestly, any of the women's matchups actually are really good and it'd be fun to see. But like potential feuds, Asuka versus Io Sky, absolutely goated. That would be great to see. Bliss versus Tiffany Stratton. I don't honestly hate that. So I wouldn't be too opposed to it. Same thing with Jade Cargill. Like I said, if it leads to a whole um, Tiffany or with Naomi maybe cashing in, they could make magic on that SummerSlam or even just that whole that leading up to it. And then Perez versus Io Sky, I think would also work really well too. So I think they have great for potential matchups. I think it's a lot more solid than on the men's side of things. That like I'm not really me personally on the Queen of the Ring. I could care less. I mean, me personally, my two picks are Cody Rhodes and Asuka winning it. I think Asuka deserves it coming back, and I think her feud with Io is going to be the best thing that they can get here. But all of them are really good potential. Cody Rhodes, I feel like, is the only one that would have a good match with John Cena, and I think it could lead up to John Cena maybe having a faction or something that they do so he doesn't just have Travis Scott do all his dirty work. But yeah, if you like these type of videos, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We have daily videos, pretty much 1 to 2 videos every single day right now. Right now, we're covering the WNBA season with Paige Becker. So if you like basketball, that's been fun to cover. We've been doing a little bit of different stuff. So yeah, and we're gonna do some TW. There'll be a series coming, so look out for that. I've been trying to get a few episodes, polished and ready to go before I start uploading, just in case. Stuff like happens and I'm not able to get it from week to week. But yeah, if you guys enjoying this content, I will keep making it, I guess. Yeah. Such an awkward ending. But bye guys.